I decided to be a mental health counselor while I was in treatment for drug and alcohol. I was sitting there praying and asking God, what's next, God? What do you have for me? And I just kind of felt this gentle nudge to become a therapist. I was a lot of disbelief initially when I felt that, because I thought, how am I even qualified or able to help others? Here I was still at rehab. I didn't even have a bachelor's degree. It was a long road to become a therapist. I started using alcohol around 13, 14 years old, going into high school. I can remember that first drink, and even though it tasted terrible, it made me feel so good, and it kind of filled this void in my addiction. I was arrested numerous times dealing drugs, and I was in and out of the system. I'd go to jail and then get probation, and I spent a lot of time battling that, and I never was really willing to submit to any kind of treatment or program. I'd do just enough to get by, and it never really got me to a place of true recovery. The moment I decided to really take recovery seriously was right after my ex-wife filed for divorce. She was supportive with me trying to get into recovery and trying to get help. But I would do it for 3 months or 6 months, and I would clean up for a little while, and then next thing you know, I'd be back using or drinking again. And it just became this consistent pattern of me just relapsing over and over and over, and she had had enough. And I don't blame her, I understand that. Addiction and alcoholism, it destroys marriages, and it certainly destroyed mine. Because of the condition I was in, and I was using drugs as well as drinking, I wasn't able to see my daughter. She was like 2.5 at the time, and I was broken from that. I can remember just being so alone and so lost in that moment. That's when I really decided that it was time that I needed to do something radical, or the most precious thing for me in life, which is my daughter. I was going to lose her, and that was one of the big motivations for me to take the steps that I did. What I do now to stay in recovery, and it's what I teach all my clients, I believe it's kind of a 3-prong approach. First is to go to professional counseling, and I still have a counselor that I see every other week. Second would be to go to some sort of self-help group, and I go to AA. Alcoholics Anonymous is part of my recovery plan. And then the third is nourishing that spiritual side, and I attend church and think it's important to be involved with a Christian organization to really nourish the spiritual side of my recovery. One of the things that brought me to Open Doors was the opportunity to help people who could not afford counseling. I've got several that have just made some tremendous changes in life, several that are multiple years sober, that lives have been changed, and they would not have been able to have the therapy and treatment that they received if it wasn't for what we do here. And it's one of the driving factors for me to be a part of this organization, is to be a part of helping those who can't afford treatment be able to help them recover. As a donor, I want you to know that the money that you donate goes directly to these clients, and it changes lives. And it doesn't just change them in a little ways. I'm talking about profound, radical change in individuals that have come to Jesus because they were able to get the help they needed through your donations and through your giving. I don't believe anybody is truly lost. I think that there's always room for growth, and no matter where you're at, no matter how dark things sound, you can make a change, and you can make a change beyond what you could ever imagine. And that's really what's happened for me at this point. It's just been a real pleasure to be able to grow and help others, and just again to see where God has brought me from this broken addict to a person that's helping others overcome their struggles, rebuild their marriages, and fall in love again. I mean, it's one of the most rewarding things, I think, as a counselor that I've experienced.